We have a lot to get to. Craig Shirley's joining us now, Reagan biographer who knows more about raising the level of rhetoric and than pretty much anyone out there. And he's one of our favorites. His book, of course, Last Act, phenomenal. He joins us now. We're going to talk about the Jeff Sessions endorsement, which got overshadowed by the insults and the gotcha questions. So it's Sessions and Christie. Two both incredibly talented politicians. And are we going to call both of them not conservative as well? Craig Shirley joins us now. Craig.
Hi, Laura.
Hey, good to talk to you. So what do you make of the current state of things here? I mean, I think when I started hearing about the wetting the pants and the size of the hands and I mean, it really is like something my kids would be arguing about.
Yeah, well, maybe they both ought to get some Depends or something like that.
No.
Yeah, I think it's history repeating itself. You know, in the election of 1800, John Adams' supporters said that Thomas Jefferson's, if he was elected, would sell the voters who supported them, their wives and daughters into prostitution. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln was called a talking monkey and much worse. It's the technology has outstripped judgment, but that happens a lot. In 1980, Reagan's wrinkles were made fun of, his hair was made fun of, his acting skills, his capacity, his mental acuity, everything. It's a little sharper now, but it's to be expected.
Well, so the other issue, of course, is the KKK gotcha question, which is so predictable. They did it to Reagan. They did it.
And then Reagan was confronted with it, too.
Yeah, Reagan was confronted. McCain, Romney, everybody's asked. Well, David Duke. It's like, I can't believe David Duke's still alive. I mean, doesn't that take you? That's like back in the early 1980s or whatever. David Duke.
Well, sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander, and you got to be fair on this. Is that Bill Clinton in 1992, when he was running for president of the United States, executed a black man in Arkansas under very suspicious circumstances. The case was open to question, and so was the guy who was executed. So was his mental capacity was open to question, but he went ahead and did it anyway. He also put the Confederate battle flag back on the Arkansas state flag. So if you're going to question Republicans about their supposed or not supposed ties to the KKK or David Duke, you got to ask Democrats about their long history of being associated with racism.
Well, and also, I mean, the Black Lives Matter movement, when they had some of those protests, I think it was in Minnesota, where they're talking about the police as pigs or kill the pigs, whatever, something like that. I'm just paraphrasing. Right. It's all a blur, frankly. But, hasn't the White House had meetings with the Black Lives Matter movement? Or
I believe so.
Yeah, or certainly officials in the administration have. Well,
I don't recall Obama actually specifically speaking out in behalf of America's, law enforcement officials.
Yeah, I mean, certainly he'll make these comments about, the police do great work, da-da-da. But all I'm saying is every candidate, I mean, you ask about, well, your supporter, this guy is your supporter. Do you disavow him? Or this person wrote a horrible op-ed, and you disavow
Reagan was
her.
confronted with this in 1966 in the primary, and he said, look, they may endorse me, but I don't endorse them. End of subject.
And also, Craig, given all of your historical knowledge, don't you find that the less oxygen you give these gotcha questions and the more just unequivocating you are in your answer, the better?
Yes. Yeah, you dispose of it as quickly as possible. Don't let it bog down your campaign. John Sears, who was Reagan's old campaign manager, said politics is motion. And he was right, is that you're either moving forward, you're communicating, you're addressing the needs of the people, you're winning votes, you're winning debates, whatever, or you're bogged down in your own problems, and therefore you're not in motion, and therefore you're losing.
Yeah, so I think on this, he's got to, I'm so sick of the phrase, put it behind him, but he's got to reframe this and move forward, and I think...
Well, what I would do if I was advising him, I would say, look, I was guilty of insensitivity, and I apologize. But if you want to look at racism, look at Hollywood and their appalling selection of Academy Awards. They themselves shouldn't be pointing fingers until they point the fingers at themselves.
Yeah,
change the subject.
The finger is always pointed back at them, or the racially disparate economic policies that have been foisted upon the country.
Yeah, but how can they deny that they're racist when the host of the Academy Awards last night said they were racist?
No, I mean, exactly. First of all, the Oscars, it was one of the worst things I have seen on television for a while. This is why I don't watch TV anymore. I mean, I just don't watch any of it.
I haven't watched the Oscars in 30 years.
So wait, the last time you watched it was like Johnny Carson was hosting or Bob Hope, right?
Yeah, right. Well, really I think the last time I watched was 1983 when Officer and a Gentleman won, I think, Academy Award.
The fact that you even remember what won the Academy Award
that's my only memory of the Academy Award.
No, the whole thing was one big racial obsession. We don't have to, over the weekend, it was on Sunday or Saturday, I can't remember. Sunday, I guess, yesterday. Trump appeared at a rally in Alabama, 25,000 people at the rally.
Right.
And the big news, and we'll play a soundbite, was from Jeff Sessions.
Nobody is perfect. We can't have everything, can we, Mr. Trump? But I can tell you one thing. I think at this time, in my opinion, my best judgment, at this time in Americans' history, we need to make America great again.
And he goes on to endorse Donald Trump.
Right. It's a very important endorsement.
And what does it mean?
Well, it means that the Republican, not that Sessions is a member of the Republican establishment, he's not, but he is an elected Republican official, an important one in many debates, especially immigration. And that is significant that Trump is starting to break through now, not just with Christie or the governor of Maine, but also now U.S. senators, which means, ironically, is that he has more United States senators supporting him than Ted Cruz does. Yeah,
no, pretty good point. If you're Ted Cruz and you're looking at the Super Tuesday thing, let's say you wake up on Wednesday and you've only won your home state and just not by as much as you thought. What do you do at that point?
You stay in. You stay in, and you stay till Cleveland. I mean, there's only one option really for everybody, and that is to stay until Cleveland and hope that Trump doesn't get a first ballot nomination, and then they can negotiate there.
Wow. So you don't think it's time to unite behind Trump?
I don't think they want to. They're still going to console themselves with the fact that Trump has not gotten over 50% in any primary. And he's not getting over 50% in any national polls. And that they can get everybody else out and you get a one-on-one that they can beat Trump.
He's at 49% in the new CNN poll.
Right. But he's not over 50%.
Yeah, but if they're not, he's not over 50%, but they're not even close.
Yeah,
and he's won every state except Iowa. I mean, what happened to rallying behind the front runner? What happened to that concept?
Reagan was actually ahead for a time in the national polls over Gerald Ford in 1976, and yet it was Ford who won the nomination because he was an insider who controlled the levers of power, and he only won by 67 delegate votes out of 2,259 cast. Which is less than 2%. But because he controlled the party establishment, he walked away with the nomination. And so the establishment candidates are telling themselves, look, we might not beat him in the primaries, but we might be able to beat him in Cleveland if we all get together.
Craig Shirley, last act. It's great to have you on, as always, Craig. Thank you so much.